Hello, everyone. I want to take a moment to update you on what's been going on behind the scenes here at Oaks Church, including, and I know you've all been waiting for this, our comeback plan for how and when we will be reopening the church. I don't know about you, but I'm so ready to be back to church together again as one church family. But first, I want to share and celebrate a miracle with you. You know, we talked just a few weeks ago about how when we do what God calls us to do, God does what only He can do. He does the amazing things. He does the miracles. Well, He's done just that over the last few weeks, and I need to tell you about it. You know, we've seen people healed physically. We've seen people saved, giving their lives to Jesus just in the last few weeks. We've been seeing people get baptized, and we've heard stories of how God has provided for His people and for our church. You know, it was 3 months ago when coronavirus turned our world upside down, and we were facing, like a lot of people, some very real financial issues, some uncertainty as a church on what the future would look like for us. On top of not knowing what would happen financially here at the church, there were several building issues that had been building up over time that we knew needed to be addressed, things that just needed to be fixed, but we didn't know how we could do it. It was kind of like the perfect storm of all these things happening at once. We had some failing and outdated equipment in our main auditorium, as well as some other big ticket maintenance items in the church. Needless to say, there was a lot of financial uncertainty as we began the coronavirus era 3 months ago. Well, we did what we always do here at Oaks Church. We began to pray. As a staff and as a board, we just began to seek God and said, God, give us wisdom. Lord, provide for us. Help us to know how to be good stewards and how to walk forward into this time. We didn't want to slow down our ministry to this community. We didn't want to have to lay off our staff. I'm excited to tell you, God provided big time. He heard our prayers and He did a miracle. And the miracle was really in two parts. The first part is this: God began to speak to you. Each of you that calls Oaks Church home, I know God began to speak to you to be generous givers, even during a pandemic. And let me tell you, you as a church responded. Your faithful giving has been absolutely incredible, miraculous, really. And it's allowed us to continue our ministry to this community at a high level. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your faithfulness, Oaks Church. God has used you to be a part of this miracle. And the second part of the miracle was we began to look to refinance the loan as a church. Pastor Scott and the board and the executive team and myself began to explore ways that maybe we could create some financial flexibility. And because of the all-time low interest rates, we began exploring how we could maybe refinance the loan on our church. Now, it's been a journey. A lot of hard work has gone into this, a lot of ups and downs along the way. We've had to learn to trust God all over again, as it looked like at times it wasn't going to work out. But last week, God did a miracle. And I'm so excited to tell you that we close on the refinance on the church tomorrow, which allows us to save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and give us the ability to pay for the updates on our building and the equipment that just had to be done. Listen, we didn't know what we were going to do. A pandemic hit, and God has been so faithful. You have been so faithful, and He's done a miracle in our church. One of the biggest projects is fully renovating our main auditorium. We didn't know how we were going to do this. I mean, we just had some sound and lighting equipment that was going out. It just needed to be repaired, and it's one of those things you kind of keep putting off. Well, because we were able to refinance the loan, that work on the new auditorium is going to start this week. And when we all gather together again, it will all be done. That leads me to our comeback plan. Are you ready for it? Here it is. July 12th. We will be reopening our church to the community for worship services, and we will be coming back in to a fully renovated, state-of-the-art auditorium. Guys, how amazing is that? So I'm excited to be able to tell you that we will be having 2 services in our youth auditorium starting June 28th, open to anyone, but everyone will need to RSVP to reserve their spot. Here's what I want you to know about that. We have limited capacity, June 28th and July 5th. Part of the reason we're waiting until July 12th is the work that's being done in our main auditorium. And so we'll be in our youth auditorium, limited capacity, so you must reserve your spot. You can go online at oaks.church. The link is in this video as well. Kids ministry will be open for all ages. We've worked really, really hard as a team. I'm so proud of our staff, so proud of our facilities team to do the work on our building and to make the preparations for your kids to be back in a safe, clean environment. So kid ministry will be open for all ages. Social distancing will not be required. However, we will have an auxiliary room set up with social distancing for you to watch the service here at our campus if that's what you want to do. If you're at high risk, if you're not feeling well, if you have any concerns at all about being here at church on the campus, we encourage you to continue watching online. Starting June 28th, when you're ready, we're ready. Here's what I'm asking you to do over the next few days and weeks. Number 1, commit to pray. Let's continue to pray and seek God for wisdom, for healing, that God would use these days and weeks to generate spiritual momentum for people to prepare themselves to come back to church, that God would deal with our fear, that God would bring healing to our bodies. We pray for an end to the coronavirus. So let's be prepping ourselves by seeking God and praying like never before. Number 2, I encourage you to invite. Invite people to watch over the next few weeks online. Invite people to our comeback service on July the 12th. Let's use this as an opportunity. I believe people are hungry for God. They know they can't depend on themselves in a time like this. I believe people are seeking, they're hungry, they're ready. So let's invite the people in our world to come back with us to church July 12th. And finally, register online for June 28th or July 5th, which service that you're going to attend. Listen, we're believing our greatest days as a church are ahead. We can just feel God is moving. He is preparing us and our community for some amazing things. We're believing that we're going to see a comeback to church like never before and a revival of hope. That these would be days of salvation for many people in our community, for people in your family, for your one that you've been praying for. Listen, I love you so much, Oaks Church, and I can't wait to worship together with you soon. God bless.